Welcome to this channel, and in this video we are going to be looking at absolute min and max, right? Absolute extrema. So how do we determine absolute min and max? In the earlier video we looked at how to determine relative min and max, and please, if you watch the previous video, it's important to note that the relative min and max is also known as the local min and max. So in case if you are asked for local min and max, it's still the same thing you're going to apply, right? Still the same method, right? Okay, so let's look at absolute min and max. So absolute min and max is also known as the global mean and max, and it's simply the minimum or maximum point across a function's entire domain. That's why sometimes you'll be given a function and then you'll now be given the interval. So with that interval that is given to you, you will now determine the absolute. Do you understand? Which is across the entire domain. Remember, the relative is just at a point, and then is the lowest point across that little neighborhood, that valley. So how do you determine absolute min or max? So let's say you are given this question: s squared f of x is equal to s squared plus 2x plus 1, and we are looking at it from negative 5 to 5. You are given this interval, right? And you are asked A to determine the absolute mean and max, right? You may say, oh, this function may not have a max. It does have an absolute maximum because across the entire graph. So let's see if I'm going to do it. So to get absolute min or max, the first thing you do is to get the first derivative of the function. And if you get the first derivative of this, is going to be what? 2x plus 2. Are you following? Equate that first derivative to 0 so that you can get the critical point. That will be what? 2x is equal to minus 2, and that's x equal to minus 1. Are you following? And then at f minus 1, what are you going to have? Minus 1 squared plus 2 into minus 1 plus 1. Are you following? And that's going to be negative 1 squared is 1, and then negative 2 plus 1, and that's negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. So we can actually see that the critical point is negative 1, 0. And the first question is asking, what's the absolute mean? So how you determine this absolute mean is that you first of all get the critical point, look at the outputs, and in this case when we substituted minus 1 we had 0, then test the end points of the interval. In this case, what are the end points? Minus 5 and 5. So substitute minus 5 into the function. Remember that the function is what? S squared plus 2x plus 1, right? So if you substitute minus 5, what will be the output? It will be what? Minus 5 squared plus 2 into minus 5 plus 1, which will be 25 minus 10 plus 1. 25 minus 10 is what? 15. 15 plus 1 is 16, right? Are you following me? So at x equals to 5 is going to be 5 squared plus 2 into 5 plus 1, and that's going to be 25 plus 10 plus 1, which is what? 36, right? So you've tested first of all at the critical point, and the output was 0 when you substituted. Then you substituted the end intervals, which in this case minus 5 and 5, and when we substituted minus 5 we got 16 and we got 36. So the question now is, you now look at the outputs, because basically in this first case we had negative 1, 0, because when we substituted minus 1 the output was 0. In this case when we substituted minus 5 the output was 16, and in this case when we substituted 5. So you look at the one that has the lowest output. So which one has the lowest output between 0, among 0, 16 and 36? Which one is the lowest? It is what? 0. So 0 is the absolute mean. Are you following? 0 is the absolute mean. So in this case you are saying that the absolute mean is equal to the relative mean. In this case, it's not every time. Oh, please, right? It just what happened this time, right? Because when we compared the three values, that is by getting it at the critical point, and at minus 5 and 5 we saw that the lowest was at what? 0. Then in the case of minus 5, we got 16, 5, 36. And then the question asks you what's the absolute max. They ask you what's the absolute max between among 0, 16 and 36. Which one is the highest? It's 36. That is the absolute max. Do you understand? So when you get the list of the critical points, testing at the end point, you check the one that is the lowest is the absolute mean, the one that is the highest is the absolute max. Very simple. And then if I should graphicalize this, that's for x squared plus 2x plus 1, x squared plus 2x coming up. Are you seeing it? You can see that minimum is what? Minus 1 comma 0. Then at 5, remember at 5 we're getting what? 36. Are you seeing it here? At 5 the output is 36. So you chose the highest point across that domain that has been given to you. If they don't give you any domain, the maximum cannot be infinity. You can't say infinity now. It's not a definite, not a number, right? So at 5 you can see the value as what? 36. At minus 5 you would see what? Minus 16, is it not? Minus 16, right? Okay, so let's look at another question. So in the case of f of x equals to 4x cubed plus 9x squared negative 12x plus 13, and the interval given to you is negative 3, 2, and you're asked in the exam, what is the absolute mean? Well, let me see, what's the absolute max? What do? Get the first derivative. First derivative is what? 12x squared plus 18x minus 12. Equate that first derivative to 0. That will be 12x squared plus 18x minus 12 equal to 0, right? And then dividing through by 6, what's that going to be? That's actually 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 equal to 0. Looking for two numbers so that when you add you get 3, and when you multiply you get minus 4. That's minus 1 and plus 4. That's minus x plus 4x minus 2 is equal to 0. That's x into 2x minus 1 plus 2 into 2x minus 1, because 4x divided by 2 is 2x, and minus divided by 2 is what? Minus 1 equals to 0. Then bring this together, that will be x plus 2 into 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Equate each component to 0. X plus 2 is equal to 0, or 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. That means x is minus 2. When this moves over, or you subtract from both sides, 2 from both sides, so that will be or 2x is equal to 1, implying that x is what? 1 over 2. So these are the two critical points that will be generated. So you substitute. What's the next step? Substitute in the original function. So f of x is what? 4x cubed plus 9x squared plus negative 12x plus 13. So do you now test at minus 2? Right? If you test at minus 2, what is it going to give you? That's 4 into minus 2 to the power 3 plus 9 into minus 2 squared minus 12 into minus 2 plus 13, and that's 4 into minus 8 plus 9 into 4 plus 24 plus 13. Alright, so that's negative 32 plus 36 plus 24 plus 13, which is what? 41. Because this is 4 plus 24, 28 plus 13, 41. Then at the second critical point, which is half, you have 4 into half cubed plus 9 into half squared negative 12 into half plus 13. And if you watch my other video, you see that we did something like this, right? And in this case we have half plus 9 over 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6, right? So that's negative 6 plus 13, which is half plus 9 over 4 plus 7, right? Which is 4 divided by 2, 2, plus 4 divided by 4, 1 times 9, 9, plus 4 divided by 1, 4 times 7, that's 28, which is going to give us 39 over 4. So you can see that at the critical point at -2 we had 41, and at half we had what, 39/4. You keep that aside, move to the end intervals, and in this case the end intervals are -3 and 2. So substitute these end intervals into the original function. So remember that the original function is what, 4x cubed plus 9x squared minus 12x plus 13. So at f, what's the interval given? -3 to 2. So at f -3, you have 4 into -3 to the power 3 plus 9 into -3 all squared minus 12 into -3 plus 13. And minus 3 to the power 3 is going to give us -27. So that will be 4 into -27 plus 9 into -3 all squared is what, 9. Then plus what, 36, because minus times minus is a positive, and then plus 13. -27 times 4 is -108, and then positive 81 plus 36 plus 13. So compute that on your calculator. You won't have a cal, so you should be able to do this without a calculator. Plus 36 plus 13. And -108 plus 81 is going to be what? 108 minus 81 is 7. That's -27. -27 plus 36 is what? 36 minus 27, which is 9. And 13 plus 9 is what? 22. So at -3, the output was what? So this is another point. -3, 22. And then the last point, remember that the second end interval was 2. So if you substitute 2 into the function, it will be what? Let me write the function here so that you'll be following me. 4x cubed plus 9x squared minus 12x plus 13. At x equals to 2, you have 4 into 2 cubed plus 9 into 2 squared minus 12 into 2 plus 13. That will be 4 into 8 plus 9 into 4 minus 24 plus 13. Right? So 4 times 8 is what? Is 32. Plus 9 times 4 is what? 36 minus 24 plus 13. And 32 plus 36 is what? Is 68 minus 24 plus 13. Then what's 68 minus 24? That's 44, right? 44 plus 13 is what? That's 57. So 2, 57. So this, you can now see that we've gotten 4 points. We've gotten 4 points. The first point was -2, 41, half, 39/4, -2, 41, half, 39/4. The third point was what? -3, 22. And the last point, 2, 57. So the question is, within these 4 values, which one is the lowest? Are you following? This one. 22 is the lowest. Is that the lowest? No. Check well, because 39 divided by 4 is what? 9.75. So this is wrong. This is the lowest point. Alright? This is the lowest point. So the lowest point here, this is the absolute minimum, absolute mean. And then what's the highest? 57. This is the absolute maximum point. Absolute maximum point. 2, 57. Right? 2, 57. Do you understand? So that's it. So we'll take one last question, and I believe what I've been saying since, you should be able to solve this. So when I write down the question, pause the video and attempt it. That's x cubed -6x squared plus 9x -4, and we are given this interval -2 to 5. And please note that you don't want to write it as this. The people that said the questions, it could be written as this: -2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 5, because this is actually, you can see we use the close brackets, the close interval, and they have to use less than or equal to less than or equal to. So within -2 and 5, -2 and 5 inclusive, and you are asked for the absolute mean point. So let's say this was the exam question. They didn't ask for max point, they just say what's the minimum. So pause the video and attempt. Have you paused it? Okay. So if you get the first derivative of the function, if you differentiate x cubed, it's going to give you 3x squared, then negative 12x, because 2 comes down to become negative 6 times 2, and then plus 9. Do you agree? Differential of a constant, which is negative 4, is 0. So you equate this first derivative to 0. You can see that 3 is a factor, so dividing through by 3 is going to be what? X squared minus 4x plus 3 equal to 0. Look for two numbers you add, that you get minus 4, and you multiply that, you get positive 3, and that's what? Minus x and minus 3x. So that's x squared minus x minus 3x plus 3 equal to 0. So sorry for that. So on factoring out, you have x into x minus 1 minus 3 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. So take this, that'll be x minus 3 into x minus 1 equal to 0, right? Equate each component to 0. X is equal to 3 or x is equal to 1, right? So you then substitute into the original function. Remember that the original function is what? X cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x negative 4. And then if you substitute 3, that's f of 3, that's the first critical point. You have 3 cubed minus 6 into 3 squared plus 9 into 3 negative 4. Right, so 3 cubed is 27 minus 3 squared is 9. 9 times 6 is 54 plus 27, right? And then minus 4. 27 minus 54 is minus 27. Minus 27 plus 27 is what? 0. So all of this is off. We are just left with what? Minus 4. So the first critical point that we are getting is what? 3 comma minus 4. Right, and then at the second point, which is x equal to 1, f of 1 is what? 1 cubed minus 6 into 1 squared plus 9 into 1 minus 4. And then 1 minus 6 is what? Minus 5. And then plus 9 minus 4. Minus 5 plus 9 is what? 4. 4 minus 4 is what? 0. So the second point is what? 1 comma 0. Are you following? Right. So then these are the two critical points, and then we now test at the end intervals minus 2 and 5. Minus 2 and 5. Right. So remember that the original function is what? X cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x minus 4. So at minus 2, you have minus 2 to the power 3 minus 6 into minus 2 squared plus 9 into minus 2 minus 4, which is minus 8, right? Minus 2 all squared is 4. So minus 6 times 4 is what? Minus 24. Then minus 18 minus 4. Then minus 8 minus 24 is minus 32. Minus 32 minus 18 is minus 50. Minus 50 minus 4 is minus 54. And then lastly, remember the other end interval was 5. So on substituting 5 cubed minus 6 into 5 squared plus 9 into 5 minus 4. 5 cubed is what? 125 minus 5 squared is 25. And 25 times 6 is what? 150, right? And then plus 45 minus 4. And what is that? Sorry. And that will be 125 minus 150 is negative 25, right? And then plus 45 minus 4, and that will be negative 25 plus 45 is 20, because 45 minus 25 is 20, right? So 20 minus 4 is what? 16. So what are the 4 points? Remember the first time around we had let me start with the one I'm saying. When we substituted 5, the output was what? 16. Doesn't matter the order which you write it. When we substituted minus 2, the output was what? Negative 54. And then the critical points, when we substituted 1, we had 0. When we substituted 3, are you seeing it? We had negative 4. So 1, 0, 3, negative 4. So among these 4 values, which one is the lowest? This one. Negative 2, comma, negative 54. And if we should visualize it, So that's the absolute minimum point. If you should visualize it, coming right up, that's x to the power 3, x to the power 3 minus 6x squared, minus 6x squared, positive 9x minus 4. And this is it. So if we now check, remember we said that the absolute minimum is what? Minus 2 comma what? Let me minimize it so that you can see it clearer. At minus 2, if we move out to where we have minus 57, at minus 2 we have what? Minus 50. Are you seeing it? That is lowest across the entire domain. Minus 2 comma minus 54. Then you can see the minimum points and maximum points we got. Remember the first one was what? I think 1 comma 0. 1 comma 0. I'm trying to place my hand on it. Are you seeing it? And then the other one is 2 comma, what was the other one? 3 comma minus 4. Are you seeing? 3 comma minus 4. I can't replace my hand on it, but it's actually 3, and you can see that the other part is approximately minus 4. Can you see that? So that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I believe that any question that comes up to you asking you to determine absolute min or max, you should be able to do it by simply getting the critical points, getting the output, testing the end intervals, and then comparing to know which one has the highest output or which one has the lowest output, which would be a door. That's a key to determine which is the absolute min or max. And that's it. Thank you so much once again, and have a nice day. I want you to watch more of the videos to come, right? So do well to subscribe to this channel so that you get more videos. This video gets to others who actually need them. Yeah.